G'day guys, Aaron from Vehicle Sole Solutions. Just going to run you through a training video and basically a tools video on what tools you will get and what tools you need to do the job. You will need a measuring tape, so we know that everything is in central and to the eye great. Masking tape, we'll need a Sharpie, a nice sharp knife, a ruler, isopropyl alcohol. This is to remove any silicone and wax-based products off the surface to ensure good adhesion. From there, on some hard jobs, we will need some 3M primer. If you have a hard tipping point on the bonnet that requires extra adhesion, this is a great product to use. From there, you'll need your VHB tape. This is to adhere the panel down to the decal. It's going to look a little something like this on your panel. Obviously you will need a panel, but yeah, nice perimeter around the outside and a couple of runs down the middle usually does the job. On some of the harder to adhere jobs or bigger sloped bonnets, we will run 2 rows around the whole outside of the panel. From there, you will need weight bags of some sort to weigh down the panel. This will ensure good stick from the 3M tape to push it down and give 100% adhesion. Leave them on for as long as possible, just to ensure that panel is never coming up or lifting in any way. All right guys, after we've gone through the tools, let's jump into the install. Let's unbox the panels. Don't need that anymore. But this box we will always keep. So this box is really handy for when applying the tape to the panel, having a nice sturdy surface to have the panel all completely covered. There's no bent surfaces or anything like that, and also the cutout for the diode box on top. When you flip the panel over, that will be nice and recessed in there, so you're dealing with a nice flat surface. We'll just trim the tape either side of this cardboard, making sure we're not putting the knife anywhere near the panel or the cables. Last thing we want to do is cut through a cable or through the panel surface. In the box we get sticky pads with cable ties. We can use those to stick the cable down to any flat surface and then secure the cable down so it's not flapping around. So always careful cutting on the cardboard, not on the panel. Slide that out, always support the middle of the panel. We have instructions there too. That can go down there. And there we have it, panel out of the box. We then do the same with the side panels. Double adapter cables, if you decide to use those, it's completely up to you, but that is a double adapter that connects your 2 panels into one. We also have extension cord for any extension work that you need to do, whether the panel's going wide into your battery under the hood or into the back of the vehicle somewhere. So the panels are going to be back to back when you have a dual panel system. So the back of the panel, this one will be touching the back of the panel on the other side. Flip that over, same again, now that panel is free. So we have our 3-panel system on the bench. All right, so we don't throw this cardboard lining out because it's a perfect flat surface for when you turn the panel upside down, recesses your diode box, great for masking up the panel, so never throw that out. All right, now our panels are nice and unboxed, we can tape them up. So what we're going to do, pick up the panel light, always keep a second hand underneath the panel to make sure you're not over bending the panel. The panel does have fingerprints and marks on it, so what we're going to do is we're going to clean the panel. What we have is a nice microfiber cloth here, some isopropyl alcohol, that will remove all your silicons, waxes, greases, handprints, all that sort of stuff off the panel to create a nice, clean, ready to adhere to surface. So be very thorough, not to miss any spots, especially around the outside edges. These outside edges are the most important point because that's the part that you see when it's on the car. Once that's done, we then move to, if it's a harder to adhere panel, like the Ram behind me, it's got some bow to the bonnet, this way, that way. So what we want to do is just ensure that the tape is going to stick really, really well. And one way to do that is using adhesion promoter. This is not for every job, only for jobs that have a more sloped bonnet. So we dip our brush in that, and what we want to do is just make sure all the front edges, side edges, have a complete coverage to the edge of the adhesion promoter. It's not really required anywhere else along the panel, just mostly on the edges, just to ensure we don't get any little pop-ups or anything like that, which are unsightly once installation is completed. Now that's on, we give it a chance to flash off. This is the VSS VHB tape. It comes in 3 meter rolls. Generally, on a single panel 100-watt style bonnet, we will need 3 rolls of this tape. This tape is extremely hard to tack against, and basically the best thing that we can put this down with. So we just want to wait for this all to dry up, no more shiny bits, and once that's dried up, then we can apply the tape. All right guys, now our adhesion promoter is all dried and nice and tacky. Be conscious not to touch the panel at all. We always start with the front edge of the panel. The front edge of the panel is the most visible part of the panel from the front of the car, obviously. So we want that to be as nice as possible when putting the tape on. So we pull the tape, anywhere that you're touching the tape, getting your skin oils and stuff on there, ideally you do not want that on the panel. So what we do is we go over the edge, stick it, just tack it there, and then you hold weight down on and you stretch the other end, and then you can now move that tape to how you want it. And we want basically 1 millimeter or less of a gap to the edge of the panel. The stretch will actually help get the tape down really flat as well. So if you hold nice tension on that, it's going to get it really down flat. So once you get that over to the edge, you grab your knife and you trim it just off the panel. And now you run your thumb across it, making sure that tape has full adhesion, ideally no bubbles in the tape. So that first row's down now. Then we're going to move to the sides. So same deal, where you touch the tape, coming off the panel, right off the edge. Don't worry about the overhang, we'll sort that out later. And we're going to come 1 mil or less, nice even gap. The more even the gap, the cleaner the install, the better it will look afterwards. All the way down. When we want to put this tape on, like I'm doing right now, ideally long unbroken runs, especially around the outside. If you do run low on the tape, you crack another roll open, and then you do those long runs on the outside, and then we can use the end bits in multiple pieces on the inside that's not seen from the outside. So once we go there, with very light pressure, we can see where the tape stops on the other tape. What we want to do is put our knife on there and just nice light pressure, just cutting through the tape, not cutting the panel. All right, now our whole perimeter's done. We want to put a second row the full way around. This is going to ensure that we've got really, really good tape contact the whole way around the panel. 2 rows is pretty much a necessity on, I'd say, 95% of our panels. Unless they're really small, then it's not really worth it. So second row. Obviously you don't need to be as fussy with how it goes down as long as it's on there, because you're not going to see this from the outside once the panel is stuck down to the bonnet. Trim it down nice and gentle. That's going to ensure good coverage on all the edges and make sure it sticks right down. Now with our third roll, we're going to run 2, maybe 3 runs. I'm going to say 3 on this one, down the guts. Obviously we like to go front of the panel to the back of the panel, not side to side, because when the wind's coming on, you're going to get the most amount of contact forward. Now, once all the tape's on, grab our squeegee that came out with the decal. We can then run that along the tape just to ensure that tape has good contact the whole way. Okay, that's a taped up panel. Now we have to just flip it over. This is why we keep the box from the start. So we're going to flip it over, always supporting the panel in the middle. Now we've got our tape edges that we left overhanging. Ideally, using the cardboard, you're not cutting your bench or onto something hard that you're going to damage later, so you're just cutting into the cardboard. Give you a nice cutting surface to trim out that corner, flush with the panel, nice clean. Do that on every single corner, make sure you've got no overhang. All the edges are trimmed now. Pick the panel up, support it in the middle, fold it over. This is what we want our taped up panels to look like. 3 rolls of tape, nice clean symmetry on the panel. Pretty much you know you're not going to have any issues when it looks like this. All right, time to do the other side panels. All right, once again, we want to clean down the panel, isopropyl alcohol, make sure there's no silicons, greases, waxes, all that sort of stuff on there, your fingerprints, all that's going to cause adhesion issues. So the ISO will completely stop that from happening. Fresh roll of VHB tape ready to go. Front first, because it is the most visible part of the car, and that's what we want to make look the best. So 1 mil to the edge. Because the side of the panel is not flat or straight, well, it's flat but it's not straight, what we want to do is apply the tape to the edge, hold it quite firmly, and put a little bit more stretch than standard on there. So what the stretch is going to do is it's going to make it conform to the shape and not have any fingers up on the tape, which will cause high points on the panel. So I'm stretching quite firmly and directing the tape with my thumb in the roll hand. Not many panels that we do have curved edges, but a lot of the side ones on a triple panel system have a similar style curved edge, just to suit the conform of the bonnet. Okay guys, the panels are all taped up now, looking really good, ready to go back on the car. Let's go. It's time to put the panel on with the red masking still on the 3M tape. This will give us a chance to chuck it on there and measure out where it needs to go. So we're going to place that down on the bonnet, lift that up, put it over there, slide it into position. As a rule, the decal underneath is going to be 10 millimeters bigger the whole way around the panel. So it gives you a really good indicator of where you need to go. So by eye, get her in the right spot, and then we're going to get the ruler out. The front line is the only important thing right now. So we're going to go 10 mil from the bottom of the panel on the left-hand side, and 10 mil on the bottom of the panel on the right-hand side. That tells us we're 10 mil the whole way over. Double check everything, always measure 3 times. Now, we're going to get our masking tape. We're going to put down a straight line across the front of this decal to indicate where the front of the panel is going to go. Rest your finger on the panel, push it down so it sits flush, and then you run your tape line exactly across the front of the panel. Our tape line is down, we have a front point, and we know exactly where the panel's got to be at that front point. What we do next is we will put 4 rows of tape over the top of this tape. Exactly the same spot. We're creating a lip to butt the panel up to. We're going to push the panel edge against this built-up row of tape. So 4 to 5 layers of tape. We now have a decent lip to push the panel up to. You can't even slide it past that lip. That's exactly what you want. So now that's lined up. We look side to side, try and get 10 mil by eye. Grab our ruler again, and we're going to look for 10 mil on the side. Yep, so we've got 8 mils. Never count on the decal being exactly right. You always want to measure that decal side to side. Make sure you have the same overlay on both sides so you get that symmetry and it looks good. All right, now we want to go put our tape line up the side to indicate where the panel is going to sit up the side, and also give us an area inside this tape line where we're going to put our adhesion promoter, because the adhesion promoter makes a shiny edge and we don't want that outside of the tape line, because you'll be able to see it once the panel is mounted to the car, and that's not what you want to see. And now we have where our panel is going to sit, basic template. So we know where a center point is on this panel. We're going to put a piece of tape across the front lip of the panel. If you can overhang the lip very slightly, maybe 5 mil down the front of the panel, it's going to help you as well. And then we're going to get our Sharpie. Side to side is good, so we know the panel is central, that's where it's going to sit. We then go to the middle line of the panel. It doesn't matter where you put this line. Obviously you want to try and aim for the middle, because we're going to try and make this line line up with a line adjacent on the bonnet. And we're going to do multiple of these. This will be our indicator when we're going to put the panel down later. You can do as many lines as you want. I'd recommend at least 3, so you've got indications from side to side. This panel is now measured and pretty much ready to get applied to the bonnet. Pick the panel back up again, support underneath, bring it over to your bench, lay it down upside down, ready to remove the red backing of the 3M tape. Okay, panel's now on the bench top. We are going to take the red backing sheet off the VHB tape. So what we do is we get our knife and we work from the middle out. So basically what we want to do is shimmy our knife in between the tape and the red backing and just flick that up. That's going to give us something to grab onto and peel that off. Obviously you want to do the center first so you're not leaning over the outside edges and touching the tape with your skin, which will cause adhesion issues. All the red backing sheet is removed. The panel is now ready to be put on. Once this backing sheet has been removed, you really don't want to leave the panel laying around like this. It wants to be pretty much removed and then put onto the car because we don't want to risk any chances of debris or anything falling onto the tape that will create adhesion issues. It's very difficult to apply this panel on your own, especially on a taller vehicle. You need 2 hands to create even pressure and put the panel down evenly. So what we're going to do, support the panel after you pick it up. We're going to drop the back of the panel onto the car there and we're going to stand it up straight. We place our hand around cupping the tape. You don't want to touch the tape, but you want to hold the panel, right? So we cup the panel with our hands, not touching the tape at all, and we line up our lines from before. And the best way to get our panel to kink and press down onto that is just to give a little tug on the cable, and it's going to give a slight concave action down towards the tape line. The one thing to be very, very conscious of is not trying to see this gap here. While this panel is standing up straight, the bottom of this panel is straight. The bonnet is not. So what happens is you get a gap here and here. Don't worry about it, but you just need to make sure that you and whoever's helping you are putting nice even pressure down towards this lip of tape that you've made, nice even pressure. He's pushing down, you're pushing down, and you basically lever it down while pushing towards this edge of the tape. So we hold the panel about midway, keep that kind of bend on the panel, and we're going to start coming down now. And you watch this lip, we're going to put nice even pressure down, and don't stress, it will come down and it will meet up with that tape line. So we're coming down, and we're making sure that that meets down. And now we put a little bit of slight pressure on each side, and we get the middle down first. That tape has contact now and it will not be able to be removed. You're at the point of no return. So now we want to remove this tape and this tape just to ensure that if we are a millimetre out, which is always possible, that the panel's not covering and the stickers, the VHB tape is not going onto this blue tape, creating a stuck between there, and then you'll have a nice little blue line down the side of your panel. And we're going to push out the front from the centre out. Always go from the centre out. The front of the panel is the most important. It's what you're going to see all the time. And then we're going to go up from the middle, nice, firm, flat pressure, pushing down. And then we're going to work our way out towards the edge. Bringing that edge down nice and evenly. Massage that down and get it all nice and down flat. And the same on the other side. We're going to go grab some weight bags and we're going to weight bag this to ensure the best adhesion possible. All right, we've got our weight bags here. These are full of sand. What we want to do is we want to get these on there nice and even. We're not like bunched up like that and chuck them on. We want to try and flatten out the sand inside the bag and get a nice even coverage. And what we want is firstly, the front of the panel down, and we want a decent overhang on the front of the panel. This is going to ensure that the front edge is pushed right down. So we'll get that center one in, overlap them, chuck them on the side. The middle's not much of a concern. We're mainly concerned about the edges, especially the front half. So obviously be careful chucking these on the bonnet. You don't want to just chuck them on there and bend the bonnet. Place them down nicely. And that's pretty much all you really need to get down. The back of the bonnet's very flat. So not much area concern of popping or coming back up. It's all this front edge and the sides that are going to be any concern. So get that down as best you can. These will now stay on there for as long as possible. Recommended a couple of hours. All right, we're going to crack on with the second panel now, second and third panel. We're going to get them on. We need to wipe down the ISO, all the decals down, make sure they're free of any skin, oils and things like that. We'll then put the second panels on to measure up where they're going to go. All right, we've got a nice 10mm gap pretty much the whole way around, so we're going to eyeball that as best possible. And then we're going to get this front line down, get our masking tape, 10mm. Good to put a tape line down. And these ones are a little bit different to the middle one now. So we're going to put this on sideways like this. If you go to try and put this down from the front, because the angle is not straight and the panel is so long, 1mm out down here equals about 15mm out up the top. So nice and straight at the front. We're looking for 10mm down the side, and then the same at the back. So nice and straight. Rest your finger on the panel to make sure you're getting it right in line with where it needs to go. Now, very similar to the first panel where we taped up 4 lines. We're going to do that again with this side panel. 4 rows of tape in the exact spot that the first one was. Now 4 layers of tape are down. Then going to grab our panel. We'll put it up against that row, and then we're going to put our roll of tape on the edge of the panel so we can then mark the panel with our straight lines to show where the panel is going to lay down perfectly straight. And then we're going to mark from here straight down to that mark. Do a few. Take the panel back to the bench, and we're going to strip off the red backing to the tape. All right, the tape's now stripped off the panel. We're then going to go ISO again because we've been leaning on the decal. Make sure there's no handprints. So we're ready to rock and roll. We're going to bring it up and we're going to line up all our marks. And just like the front panel, you can see the gap on the front and the back. This will line up as you come down and put even pressure down towards that tape lip. So I'm going to start pivoting down, making sure no cables or anything are underneath the panel. And we're going to start pushing towards that, and we're going to come down. Putting nice even pressure, front and back, get it all butted up. And then just let that rest. We're now going to remove the tape. Nice pressure. And we're stuck down. We'll now weight bag this panel as well. Once again, we're going to settle the sand in the bag, get it nice and even, get that whole front edge down real nice. Full coverage over the front of this panel, quite an easy one to cover. And do the nice outside edge for the first 2/3 of the panel. And that is more than enough to get that panel down. All that inside edge and that back edge are really flat and are no concern of popping up or anything like that. So, all right, so now that panel's down, we look at it, and if it didn't go down perfectly, as in the gap is slightly different at the front to the back or something along those lines, then once we move to the third panel, we want to try and make that third panel look as if it's the same as the second panel. So it's going to be symmetrical again, so it makes it look like you've done it that way on purpose. Mistakes do happen. You're working with a tape that's really not forgiving, so yeah, just try and make them look as symmetrical as possible. Now we'll move to the third panel. All right guys, we're back at the car. We're going to nice and carefully lift these weight bags straight up so we're not damaging the car or dragging them on the car or anything like that. And yeah, panels are on, they're looking great. There's no high points on there. They're all sitting very nicely. Now's the time we're going to get the wiring and get that nice and tucked into the bonnet as good as possible. It is a bit of a tricky one sometimes, especially with a 3-panel system. So I'll show you how we do it, and then we can get you down the right path.